Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Level Up Your Mental. My name is Ariel and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. And today I wanted to talk about acceptance. I do have a quote on the screen. The quote says, "Accept, then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it." Eckhart Tolle or Toole, I'm not sure. But I do have her book here, which is DBT, CBT, and ACT workbook. It's a 3-in-1 workbook. It goes through all the different therapy interventions and basically gives you a tool of what the intervention is, how it works, how you can apply it to your life, and different practices that you can use. And this quote is straight from this book. And I brought it up because acceptance, I feel like, is a big part of why people struggle in life. A lot of things we would be able to deal with more if we were able to just accept things for what it is. But for some reason, we tend to struggle with that. So I wanted to bring in this book because acceptance commitment therapy, ACT, is a therapy technique that I use with a lot of my patients, a lot of my clients, whatever, in therapy, to help them when it comes to distressing thoughts, negative thoughts, anxiety, depression, being able to deal with that. ECT definitely tends to help with that. So I will be taking a little bit of words from this book because I do think it is beneficial to this topic. So when it does come to acceptance, I do want to read what she says acceptance is, because it kind of will help guide us through this conversation. So acceptance is a powerful idea that is often misunderstood. It's not about giving up or embracing a life of pain or discomfort. And it's not about finding pleasure in negative emotions. Acceptance is simply about giving ourselves permission to feel the entire spectrum of human emotions, even the challenging ones, in a safe and compassionate manner. And what that is basically saying is that acceptance is really important. When we go through things in life, we tend to not want to accept it because it's not the way that we wanted it to, because it's not what we want. And so that tends to give a lot of resistance. And what happens with resistance is that we tend to build up a lot of anxiety. We tend to build up a lot of negative emotions, depression, sadness, frustration, anger, because we are not accepting what's happening in front of us. And acceptance doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with what's going on. It's more so just accepting what's happening in front of you at face value. If I had a timeline on where I wanted my life to be, and I am now at this point in my life and I'm not where I am, I can't get mad at myself if there have been other things that have happened in my life that have contributed to where I am right now. Sometimes I hear this thing happen when people decide to have kids. They build their life and they say, I want this and this for my career, but then they end up falling in love with somebody, you have a kid, and now that kind of halts a lot of things, because now a lot of your effort goes into that child and taking care of them and what that looks like. And so now you're kind of upset because you're like, at this age I should have been doing this, I should have been doing that, but now your life kind of took a turn. And so the whole point of the acceptance is learning to accept life where it is right now. Yes, I am not where I want to be, but I am, as far as accepting my life, that I am a mother, that I am, working and doing what I need to do. And if I can still achieve that goal, it's just not going to happen at the time that I want it to. So acceptance is really just learning how to accept your emotions, especially in the moment, and learning how to deal with things. Acceptance is not telling you that you have to ignore your emotions. Of course, we want people to feel your emotions. You're a human, you have emotions. But the whole thing is being able to accept what's going on right now and being able to push forward and not creating that resistance. And so as I continue on, as far as in the book, she says that when we all yearn to feel, right? We all want to feel something. It doesn't matter what it is, we all want to feel, to connect with our emotions, because feeling is a part of being a human being. We all have emotions, we all feel. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. We all get upset, we all get mad, we're happy, excited. These are all emotions. These are human emotions, or things that happen and how we respond to them, right? But think of it as the colors on an artist's palette. Without the full spectrum, our lives will be dull and one-dimensional, but here's the catch: we want to feel within our comfort zones. When emotions push us beyond the zone, avoidance kicks in. And this is a big thing that I tend to see for some people, is that We want things to go the way that we want it to, but then when it doesn't go the way that we want it to, we don't learn how to address that emotion. We just ignore, deflect, and just try to move on as if nothing happened. And a lot of times what tends to happen is that our body still knows that we went through this thing, but we are trying to act like it's not going on. And this will still affect your mental health. You're still going to be thinking about it. It's still going to impact you in some way. It might not in the way that you expect, but it is going to impact you. And I think for some people it's very hard for them to understand what that means and to be able to accept that. But when you accept it, it doesn't mean that you agree. It just means that you are understanding that, okay, my life has taken a turn. How do I move forward, and what do I need to do to be able to understand that this is what's going on right now? And if it decides to change in the future and I can actually make those things happen for me, then yeah, I can. But as of right now, this is what is happening with my current life. And so to continue on, the book says, avoidance is our mind's way of protecting us from what it perceives as dangerous or uncomfortable emotions. It's like a well-intentioned friend who suggests avoiding a scary movie because it might make us feel anxious. The mind often tricks us into believing that the solution to our discomfort is to suppress or get rid of these feelings, especially the bad ones. And I quote bad because our emotions are not bad. We respond to things in the way that we think, based off of what we've been through or just the things that we were brought up with. This is how we respond to things. But the thing is, avoiding uncomfortable things is not going to make it any better. Avoidance does not push away the issue. It just prolongs it, if anything. You have to learn to address things when they come. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to address it right then and there, but you need to address, okay, this is actually happening right now. Maybe I need to take a moment, a day or two, to be able to deal with whatever it is that I'm going through. I need to cry a little bit. I need to be upset. I need to just work it all out. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out, okay, how do I move forward? What do I need to do to move forward? Like the book said, our mind is only protecting us from what it perceives as dangerous or uncomfortable. And like I've said to people before, our mind doesn't know what is bad and what is good. We tell our minds that, right? Because we are the ones that are controlling everything. If I believe that going into a situation is bad for me, or it's going to affect me, that's what I'm telling my mind. And so my mind is responding to what it is that I am telling it. So I will have a pit in my stomach. I will feel nervous. I will feel anxious. All these things are going to happen. And so we need to be able to understand that, yeah, you have emotions. Yeah, they're going to be hard. Yeah, we want things to go the way that we want it to, but there's going to be bumps in the road, and we have to learn how to sit in those bumps. We can't just run away from them. We can't just deflect them. It's going to affect you at the end of the day. So we have to be able to remember that and understand, okay, yeah, I'm upset, I'm mad, I can deal with it, I can process it whatever way that I need to, but how do I move forward? And that's what acceptance really is learning to just accept things for what they are. You're not agreeing, but you're learning how to push through those emotions and learning how to process them and deal with them. This is where acceptance is very good when it comes to the avoidance part. It's a shift from fighting against or avoiding these internal experiences, whether it's a difficult emotion, a physical sensation that you're getting, negative thoughts, intrusive thoughts. Acceptance is just allowing you to accept them as a natural and unavoidable part of life. There are going to be times where things are hard, and we have to be able to get through them. You can't just sit there and be like, oh, well, nope. And what tends to happen a lot of times is people will avoid with other things. They get so heavily involved in other stuff like drinking, shopping, getting into other activities. Some people get hyper focused on working out, and so that tends to affect how they look and stuff. So it creates a domino effect. And I know that things can be embarrassing and things can get hard and it can be a challenge, but if you don't learn how to deal with the challenge now, what are you going to do in the future when you're faced with that challenge again or something similar and that emotion comes up? You can't keep running. You can't run forever. There's going to be a point where you're going to have to slow down and deal with the things that you got to deal with. You got to understand that acceptance doesn't mean that you have to like or want these experiences. It's not about embracing pain or suffering. It's about acknowledging that these feelings exist and that they're part of you, and that it's okay to be in those feelings without any resistance or struggle. Yes, you're allowed to be upset that you didn't get into the school that you wanted to get to, but it doesn't mean you need to beat yourself up about it every single day. That's why I always try to tell people, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Have a backup plan. Don't be naive. Don't be gullible and just be like, well, I'm just going to walk around and say my life is perfect. I'm going to go down this timeline. I'm going to have everything done by 25. Let's say things don't go that route. What are you going to do? And I'm not saying that you're setting yourself up for failure, but you are just being mindful so that you're aware that, okay, if this thing does happen and it does take a turn, I have a backup plan. If this thing does take a turn, well, then I need to go back and start back over again and just figure out how to fix this thing. The whole point with acceptance is just being able to sit with your emotions, even the painful ones, without trying to change or escape them. That's the power of acceptance, right? You're allowing yourself to have the full human experience, feel the depths of life, what life is, what life is about. We don't all know how life is planned out for us. Nothing is perfect in life. We can go through all the loops and bounds, but we don't know how things are going to turn out. And so you find a new level of freedom, a new level of peace once you learn how to just accept things for what they are. And then the other misconception that I hear people a lot is that acceptance is just that you're giving up. It's not that you're giving up. It's about embracing and working through your feelings. You have feelings, acknowledge them, know that they are there, know that you're hurt and that you are upset. But sometimes we tend to react to things in the moment, and that tends to create more of an issue. So, deal with your emotions the way that you want to deal with them and learn how to accept them. Because the problem is when you don't learn to accept things for what they are, it makes your anxiety worse. It makes stress worse. It makes you just have to deal with things more, right? It increases depression, right? Because you're sitting there and just focusing strictly on the negative when there's so many other things in life that we have to, be happy about. I'm sure there was a point in your life where you were dreaming of the life that you have now, and sometimes we tend to forget about that. So just be mindful of what's going on, right? And a lot of things that come with acceptance is understanding that not everything is perfect. Shifting from striving from everything being flawless and just accepting that there are imperfections in life. Things are not going to go exactly the way that we want it to, and that's okay, right? The other thing is learning to accept your past experiences rather than suppressing them. Yeah, I made mistakes when I was younger. I messed up. I'm embarrassed. Sure. But that doesn't necessarily, who you are now as a person. We change. We're forever evolving. Who you were at 10 is not the same that you are now at 20, 30, 40 years old. But, you have to learn to accept everything that you were going through. As a child, you didn't know everything. Even now, you don't know everything. You're still growing and you're still learning. But, all the mistakes that you made in the past, everything, even if you were aware of the right things that you were supposed to do, but you decided to divert and do other stuff, it's fine. As long as you have learned to embrace that, acknowledge that, and be able to move forward and not make those same mistakes again. That's all you can really do. Our past experiences is part of our story. We don't have to tell everybody our story, but we need to be willing to at least accept it for our own self, so we are not continuing to fight and have this resistance within ourselves because we're not accepting of what's happening and accepting of our current life and where we are. The other part is, accepting yourself fully, the imperfections, improving your self-worth, giving yourself grace. Understanding that, you might have thought that you did everything right, but then you took a left turn, and that's okay. But accepting that and being able to move forward in that, and acceptance is definitely a skill. It's not something that you're just going to be able to I just read this thing and I'm good. No, it takes time. You have to practice it. There's going to be other challenges in your life that you have to be able to use the tools that you learn to be able to move forward with it. And as an example, maybe a relationship didn't go the way that you wanted to, and in the past you get upset, you start doing reckless things like going out at night, drinking, messing around with people because you can and whatever, and at the end of the day you don't feel good. But when you learn how to accept things, how you would respond is you take some moment to yourself. You start doing the things that you enjoy, you process it the way that you need to, whether that's getting into the gym, journaling, doing arts and crafts, coloring. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever makes you happy and will be able to help you address these things and process them is what you really need to be focusing on, because not everything is going to go that we want it to. And the whole thing is being able to accept what that means and not letting it affect us and affect our character. We are bigger than the things that we have done, and the only way that you can move forward is learning to accept it and understanding that you are going to make the future better for yourself. With acceptance, you have to acknowledge that practicing acceptance isn't easy, right? Resisting pain and uncomfortable emotions is a natural response. You're gonna tug with it. But the whole point is being able to understand that and acknowledge that and continue practicing. Practicing makes perfect. You know, I have to do my own practice when it comes to this. I get upset about certain things, but I have to remember at the end of the day, it'll all work out in the end. It just won't be at the time that I would want it to. Maybe sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. We don't know. Life is not perfect, but we have to learn how to push through those imperfections. The other thing about the acceptance is being able to understand that there are challenges that come with acceptance. There's fear, there's denial, there's perfectionism, there's society's pressures for, you know, where we should be in life and what we should be doing and how we should look and what we should be listening to and what we should dress. At the end of the day, what is it that makes you happy? And you know, I had to learn this over a time. I'm still learning. But I got into the point where I don't care what other people think. I'm going to dress the way that I want to dress. I'm going to do the things that I want to do because it makes me happy at the end of the day. And I'm the one that's living my life. Other people are not living my life for me. And if I'm not happy in the life that I'm in, then what am I really doing? It can be a challenge and it can be hard, but once you understand that and you can get through that, it makes life a little bit more easier to get through, right? The barriers of that is going to be giving yourself a lot of patience, right? Acceptance is a skill that takes time to develop. Like I said, it's not easy. It's something that takes a lot of practice over time. So you got to give yourself patience, right? You also need to understand there's progress over perfection. Focus on the small things. Focus on the little things that will help you get to your goals. If you were able to check off one thing that you did today and that's going to get you closer to your goal, then that's good enough. You're not going to have it all planned out in the short time span, you know? Making sure that you have a good support system, whether that's a good group of friends, whether that's having a therapist, whether that's going to a support group, whatever it is to kind of help you move through working through acceptance. Because just listening to this video and reading a couple books is not going to have you learn acceptance and being able to have it 100%. It's going to take a lot of practice. It's going to take a lot of things that might happen. So working through that and just being able to understand that, you know, life is hard. Things are going to happen. And once you learn how to accept it, it makes it a little bit more easier to get through. So use coping skills. Definitely indulge in self-care. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you are doing the things that you enjoy by balancing the stuff that you want to do. Don't be hyper focused on doing all of your goals and working 24/7 and thinking that's going to get you to where you need to get to. Your brain needs a break. You need a break. You can take a day or two off to be able to enjoy the things that you want to enjoy and get back to your goals. But please understand that acceptance does take time. But once you get there, you can actually enjoy everything and understand that, okay, I'm not agreeing, but I'm just at least allowing life to happen. I'm accepting what's in front of me and just allowing things to just take it day by day. And it doesn't hurt to have goals. Please have goals, have aspirations, be motivated, do the things that you need to do, but understand that there will be some bumps in the road and that it's okay to accept life for what it is and get to your goal when you get there. And so I want to thank you guys for watching another video. Please join in the comments. Let me know if there's any other topics that you would like me to talk about, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.